Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3521. Today's date is August 5, 2025. It's been almost like a night at 22:44 p.m. All right, we directly jump into the psychological test. All right, yeah, let's go. All right, I completed the test of interpersonal relationship by Timothy Leary. I complete this test. Another test is a diagnosis of state of aggression. I complete this test. Now this is the another test. Name is a test of aggressiveness in the relationship by A.S. Assinger. Okay, yeah, A Assinger. Okay, yeah, it's a 20 question. Let's go through it. All right, yeah. Question is, are you inclined to seek a path to reclination after the conflict? Okay. First of all, let me understand this question a little bit better because it kind of like a little bit confusing the language of me. So let me translate. Okay, yeah. क्या आप संघर्ष के बाद सुलह का रास्ता तलाशने की इच्छुक है? Yeah, I am. Like I'm kind of like simply try to figure it out that let's just solve the conflict. Okay, that is the first priority for me. Okay, instead of fixing the conflict, let's just kind of like simply like a solve the fixing the conflict means like that I don't know, I'm trying to kind of like simply make it kind of like make solve the conflict first. Okay, yeah, fix after the sometime. Okay, solve the conflict means like that like not solve the conflict, is a kind of like simply minimize the conflict first, minimize the conflict, or kind of like simply that let the anger down first. Okay, because the one of the main reason for conflict is kind of like simply anger, because multiple angers are added into the one conflict and it will become kind of like one of the biggest reason for everything. So yeah, but yeah, I'm tend to kind of like simply first of all kind of like simply try to make little less conflict. Okay, yeah. So yes, I always yeah. Next, how do you behave in a critical situation? Okay, yeah. Internally full of emotion, I keep calm, I lose my temper. Wait. Oh boy. Alright, yeah. Question is, how do you behave in critical situation? Internally full of emotion, I keep calm, I lose my temper. I always keep calm. Okay. Next, what do your colleagues and friends think about you? Colleagues. Okay, colleagues and friends are think about you. I am self-confident and envious. I am friendly. I am calm and envious. I am calm and unenvious. Sorry. Okay, these are kind of like options should I supposed to choose. Okay, yeah, okay. Let me explain what is actually the question. Question is, what do your colleague and friends think about you? Option is, I am self-confident and envious. I am friendly. I am calm and unenvious. Okay, yeah. What exactly it means? Okay, first of all, what is actually your friend is actually thinking about you? Are they thinking about you are self-confident and envious? Self-confident means like that, confident inside of you. Envious means like that, little bit kind of like something jealous or something that something envy, something that yeah, do you get envy means something not good. Okay, yeah. I'm friendly means very friendly. I'm calm and unenvious means like that I'm really calm and really unenvious means like that I'm not really that jealous and things like that. So which one am I? I am calm and unenvious. Okay, it's not kind of like simply I'm just clicking this option is because of the kind of like simply I am like this thing. I'm like I'm being really honest regarding about this thing. Okay, yeah. That key first option, why I'm not really choose first option. Okay, self-confident and envious. What is actually the self-confidence? You have a confidence. Okay, yeah, that is really good. Okay, yeah. self-confidence is kind of like a something makes very different, means like that you are kind of like a little bit overconfidence. Like a self-confidence is mostly associated with overconfidence. Okay, you are kind of like a thinking it from your point of perspective and things and that. Okay, yeah. And envious means like little bit jealous and things like that. I am neither of those person. I don't really have that much personality. Yes, I do have a confidence inside of me, inside of kind of like a some path that I chose and career that I have and things and something like that. But I tend to myself that there is something that I didn't renew it. Okay, yeah, and I have to do it. Okay, because when you have kind of like a self confidence or overconfidence, then you are block yourself to not to lean to learn something new, or kind of like a somebody, you just block yourself to kind of like a somebody progress. Okay, overconfidence is kind of like that, or self confidence is kind of like that. I am not that person in my reality. If you met me in real life, probably, yeah, like I tend to find out what is actually new things. So, and for that new things, I need to be confident, because confidence is actually giving me some sort of boost to stand myself, but not to give overconfidence so that I would fly. Okay, yeah. So basically, do you understand now? Okay, yeah. So I choose I'm calm and envious, because calm and unenvious. Yeah. I shouldn't supposed to be kind of like explore this question very much broadly, but I shouldn't supposed to do that. Okay, because there are multiple questions. Okay, yeah. Question. Next question. How would you react if you were offer high level or superior position? Okay, I would accept the job with the same concern. I would accept it without hesitation. I would refuse it for my peace of my mind. Oh, that is really good. Okay, that is really good. What exactly is this thing? What is actually your, yeah. Okay, the question is about that if someone is actually offer you something really higher position, would you accept it or not? Higher position means like that, let's just say president of United States. Okay, yeah, by the way, I'm not the American. Okay, yeah, but still, let's just imagine president of the United States is one of the most powerful person on the planet. Okay, yeah. So someone is actually offer you to kind of like hold that power. Okay, yeah. What would you do? Would you accept the job with concern? Would you accept it without hesitation? Would you refuse it for peace of your mind? What would you do? First of all, is that key. What is like first of all, what is actually matter to me? Okay, yeah, I am thinking about from my point of perspective. Okay, yeah, if I am being a president of United States or things like that, what can I do with this thing? I think about from my point of perspective that what would I do if I became the president of United States? What would I supposed to be do something different that other people can't do? What would I do that? Obviously, I can't do that anything at all. One thing. Another thing is that if you are thinking that I wanted to take this position just for kind of like somebody feel really powerful and things like that, that is also not the kind of like somebody answer, because the president of the United States, yes, it is a very one of the powerful person, but it is also really very vulnerable person too, because he is the one of the most powerful person. That means entire schedule is packed. He doesn't really have time to breathe and anything at all. He just always busy regarding about everything. He doesn't really have time to spend with his family and things like that. So even if you are so powerful, you can't control your time, because entire your time is kind of like a something value in something else and things like that. So people might call you one of the powerful person, but inside of you, you are really vulnerable person that you can't spend your time with your loved ones. What is actually that power gives you and things like that. Okay, yeah. So what would you do? What would I kind of like a something? Should I accept the job with the same concern? Would you accept without hesitation? Would you refuse the peace of my mind? Well, if that particular kind of like a some position is actually offering to me for doing something good, then I will accept that thing. Because if I would kind of like a somebody do that thing, I would evaluate that if I became that particular powerful person, that particular thing I could do that or not. Okay, yeah. Or that am I only person can do that thing or not? Like basically just I have to figure it out from every possible point of perspective. That key, if I could do that thing or not, can I bring the peace on this world or things like that or not? I have to ask this question to myself. Okay, yeah. And when I ask this question and if I'm not giving that answer to myself, then probably I would not take this job, because like basically it's one of the powerful positions comes from bigger responsibility. Like basically is this thing one of the kind of like assembly one of the powerful dialogue in the Hollywood cinema is that ki like a bigger power comes with a bigger responsibility from Spider-Man. Okay, and this is somewhat true by the way. Okay, yeah, because when you became so much powerful, you became so much responsible. And when you became so much responsible, that means you have very less time for everything. Okay, so for me, what would I choose? I would refuse it, and I would kind of like for peace of my mind, I would refuse it, because like basically this thing, being one of the powerful person is not really important than being kind of like a person that I would spend time with my loved ones or family or things like that, so that I would be happy, so that I will be feel really good. Yeah. Next question. How would you behave if one of your colleague took a piece of paper from your desk without permission? I would argue with and criticize them. I would make them give it back. I would ask if they need anything else. What would you do? Um, I wouldn't do anything at all. If someone is actually take some kind of like a piece of paper from my desk, I would say, yeah, okay, take it. Why would I supposed to be kind of like a criticize? I would not criticize, first thing. Okay, yeah. Another thing is that I would kind of like only give it back. If that piece of paper is essential document, then I would definitely ask to give me back that document, because it's not really good. I need that document because it's an essential document. Okay, yeah. But if that document, like if in this particular question they didn't really, and they didn't really mention, they mentioned the piece of paper, that's it. Okay, yeah. So I'm kind of like consider it's a piece of paper. Okay, yeah. So if someone is actually taking the piece of paper from my desk, yeah, just take it. Okay, yeah, and don't really worry about that. Okay, yeah. So I would not criticize them. I would not kind of like ask them to give it back. Okay, yeah. I would ask if they need anything else. Yeah, I would do that. Like if they need a pen or things like that, so I would ask them, do you need anything, pen or pencil? I do have. I also give them that. So yeah. What would you say to your spouse if they return from your work later than usual? Okay, yeah. What kept you? Where the hell are you been? I have been worried. Okay, that's a really good thing. Okay, yeah. Okay, so what is at least this question? Your spouse or your husband or your partner or your wife is kind of like a came from office very, very late. What would you do? Would you kind of like what would you say? What kept you? Like what kept you means like that key, what is exactly things that kept you over there? Or kind of like a somebody work or things or kind of like a project or whatever it is. Okay, yeah. Or where the hell are you been? Okay, yeah. These are kind of like a very angry word. Okay, where the hell are you being? Or I have been really worried. What would you choose? I would choose I have been worried. Probably, definitely, is this my spouse is kind of like a came very late. I would be worried. I would say, yeah, but I would call her that key, like, are you busy or things or something like that. She say, yeah, I'm busy. I would make sure that she's really good. Okay, yeah, she's really safe and things like that. Yeah, that's it. Because work is work. Yeah. Okay, how do you drive a car? Okay, how, like, question is, okay, this is a question. Okay, how do you drive a car? Try to overtake car that have an aggression driving style. Okay. Another option, you don't care how many cars overtake you. You like to drive calmly. Third option, so fast that no can catch up with you. Oh. So basically, it kind of like something telling you how do you drive the car means like that, like I don't really drive the car. I don't really have a car. I have bike. Okay, yeah. So in my perspective, how would you drive your bike? Would you drive the bike for kind of like a somebody overtaking someone who is kind of like a somebody driving really fast? No. You don't really care about someone is actually overtaking you or not. You are kind of like driving very calmly. Yes, I do very calmly. So fast that you can catch up with things. No, I drive very calmly and very safely. Okay, yeah. I'm not kind of like a somebody fast driver. No, I'm not really that person. No. Next, how would you describe your views on life? Balance, uh, ferocious, extremely tough. I think balance. Okay, balance would be really good. Balance means like that having a perfect balance regarding about all the emotions, anger, sadness, empty. Uh, there are a lot of things. Okay, my life is going through a lot of health situation. If I'm kind of like a thinking from practical point of perspective, because I'm almost 32. I'm living with my parents, not earning any money. You know what is actually happened. Okay, my parents are yelling at me, what are you doing with your life and things and something like that. Like basically I'm doing YouTube. Okay, yeah, I'm getting some significant amount of views but not really that much. Okay, yeah, so probably is this thing that key from practical point of perspective you might think that my life is really fucked up, but that is not. I consider myself is balance. Okay, I'm kept balance between my work, my emotions and everything. So yeah, I'm a bit really balanced. It's not really ferocious means like really good, or extremely tough means like that too much tough. No, I don't really consider my life is tough. I don't really consider my life is really good. My life is really balanced. Okay, and it's all depend on me. Okay, yeah. Next, what do you do when things don't go well? Try to blame other. Humble yourself. Be more careful. Okay, yeah. What would you do? I would be more careful. Okay, yeah. Because let me tell you one thing. Blaming other is not an option. Okay, I don't blame other, or no, it's not. Okay, yeah. One thing. Another thing, humble yourself means like that key, like let's just kind of like a somebody take all the blame to yourself. Okay, yeah, this is actually happened because of me. Which kind of like a person you are? Are you blaming someone else, or are you kind of like a somebody so humble that you just take all the blame and things like that? Or be more careful. I would choose be more careful, because let me tell you one thing, life is ups and downs, right and wrong. There are a lot of shits are going on. Okay, yeah. And when the life is actually going through all those tough things and something like that, it's you have to be learn. Okay, yeah. And basically what I'm trying to tell you, learning the life is a skill, and you have to learn the life, learn to live the life, learn to live the good life. Okay, yeah. And this is kind of like a some skills, and for that skills you have to be improve. For that improve, you have to do mistakes regarding about choices and things and something like that. Whenever you make mistakes, you realize this is the mistake, and make sure that this mistake should not supposed to be happen. You gonna take more carefully regarding about your decision, choices, and what would you do. Okay, yeah. Blaming other will not gonna solve the problem. Be blame yourself or humble yourself. This is not also kind of like a somebody is this thing, because when you humble or when you blame yourself, it will kind of like a somebody stress inside of you that key all those things is actually happen because of you. But that is also true that key everything actually happen because of you, because like the every action that you do or whatever you are, you have to blame yourself that this actually happened because of me. I'm really right. I'm kind of like agree that statement. But I also kind of like understand that key mistake is a part of the life, mistake is a part of the process. Make sure that these things shouldn't supposed to be happen, and kind of like a control everything that it shouldn't supposed to be happen in the future. So I will take care, I will be more careful next time regarding about choices and decisions and things like that. All right, yeah. Next, how would you react to an article about uh in intuitiveness among modern youth? Oh my god. Okay, intuitiveness regard is a very kind of like a very Okay, let me understand this question a little bit better. Okay, yeah. आधुनिक युवाओं में अनैतिकता के बारे में एक लेख पर आपकी क्या प्रतिक्रिया है? Okay, okay, yeah. Okay, so basically it's a kind of like some lead asking me my opinion regarding about the modern youth. Okay, yeah. What is that? It's time to ban such a entertainment. Okay, yeah. It is necessary to create opportunity for them to have organized and culture event. Why do we even bother with this nonsense? Oh, yeah. Okay, so what exactly is this thing? What exactly is this question? Okay, yeah. The question is actually asked about what is actually happened in right now in your time. Okay, yeah. Means like that ki like okay, yeah, let me explain a little bit better. Okay, yeah, I'm 31, almost 32. Okay, yeah. Within a month I would be 32. Okay, yeah. I am a millennial. Okay, what's a millennial? Have you know Gen Z? Gen Z is a kind of like a somebody person who actually born after the 1996. Okay, yeah. The people who actually born after the 1996, they actually called as a Gen Z. Okay, yeah. Okay, what exactly is this thing? What is actually Gen Z? Okay, yeah. A Gen Z means like that ki Generation Z. Okay, what exactly it means? It means that ki it's a new generation. Okay, still not understand na? Okay, let me explain. Okay, yeah. So we are living in modern world. Okay, yeah. And the things are kind of like a change so rapidly in modern world that human can't even understand the technology. Example, okay, yeah. Your father or your mother are kind of like a something very difficult to use modern smartphone or mobile phone. They just like some parents are kind of like a do it, but my parents are kind of like a something, they are really vulnerable regarding about using the phone. My mother is one of those kind of like a things that she can't even use the phone, she can't even open the WhatsApp, she can't like she can open, but she just doesn't really know how to use it or things. She just kind of like a something very just nothing really about that. Okay, yeah. And this is just a phone. Okay, yeah. If I mention what does AI and ChatGPT do, my mother did not really understand what the fuck is ChatGPT and what the fuck is AI and things like that. Why? Because my mother didn't really grow up with this technology. Same goes with my father. My parents didn't really grow up with this technology. They don't really understand what is actually the AI, ChatGPT and things and something like that. Okay, yeah. So basically, is this thing, I'm not just asking about just the AI and modern technology and things like that. I'm talking about we are invented such a technology that most of the people don't really understand what that technology does. Okay, yeah. The person who understand those technology, those person are new person. That means new generation. Okay, yeah. So basically, is this thing, the Gen Z people means the people who actually born after the 1996, they are called as a kind of like somebody. Gen Z means the next generation. These generation are kind of like somebody fully aware of everything regarding about the technology and things and something like that. Like basically my parents or previous generation doesn't really understand that, doesn't really understand this is this and that is that. Okay, so because of the technology is actually changing so rapidly, so we are kind of like a something kind of like a categorize the people according to the generation. Okay, yeah. But 100 years ago we don't really have that generation things. Okay, because 100 year ago or before that the technology wasn't really changing that much, so probably the generation doesn't really change that much. Okay, yeah. Means like that the father is actually doing the farming, then son is also doing the farming, that's it. But right now the technology is actually changing so much that the father is actually doing the farming, then son is kind of like a doing something much bigger, like a being software engineer. His son is also became kind of like a somebody data analytics. His son became kind of like a something very different. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing, each generation change every lifestyle perspective and things like that. So do you get it? So basically is this thing, this is called kind of like a Gen Z. Okay, yeah. Now regarding about the question says that what is actually your opinion regarding about this new generation or new world or new is this thing? Okay, yeah. So this is kind of like one of the following opinion. What is actually opinion? It's time to ban such a entertainment. Means like that. What is actually entertainment? Entertainment means like that. Ki right now in the Gen Z's world, okay, yeah, things are really crazy. Okay, means like that. Ki like in this particular option they mention that ki entertainment. So let's talk about the entertainment, because the entertainment industry is actually much more affected by the Gen Z generation. How? Let's just say, open your Instagram, you might gonna found any kind of like a simply the girl who is actually wearing bikini and she's dancing things or something like that, like a she is actually wearing very less and less clothes and things like that. It's very common in this world. Okay, I'm actually talking about this in 2025 point of perspective. In the future it will gonna become even more. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, that ki the photo that you are seeing on your social media feed 50 year ago, these are kind of like a 20 year ago, these are considered to be a kind of like a simply nudity. Okay, yeah. And people and these are kind of like a simply supposed to be a kind of like a simply criminal activity or offense to kind of like a do that thing. Like basically is this thing that ki 20 year ago or maybe 50 year ago, okay, taking kind of like a naked photo and things like that. And at that time there is no social media, but there is a kind of like a simply showing to the people and things like that, it might consider them little bit wrong. Okay, yeah. But in right now world, in modern world, or in right now, it's so common that it became kind of like a something normal, that everyone is actually taking photo like a little less clothes and things like that and things like that. Okay, yeah. Yeah. And basically the entire entertainment is kind of like a based on the lust and things like that. It is very real, by the way. It has actually happened right now. Okay, yeah. So what should we do? Should we ban that entertainment? Well, it's not the good option. Okay, you cannot ban or you cannot stop or you cannot resist all those things, because if you do that it will gonna become even more. Okay, yeah. What do you mean by that? Like basically is this thing, if you try to stop the river flow, what will gonna happen? It will gonna accumulate a lot of water in one place. Okay, obviously you might gonna stop the flow of river and things like that, but you are accumulated lot of kind of like a space and things like that, and that space is actually consumed by the water. Okay, yeah. And when so much amount of water is actually accumulated in one space, it kind of like a create the pressure for the thing that is kind of like a preventing for the thing yeah. And when that pressure is exerted too much, then it will kind of like a break it down. Okay, and it will kind of like a destroy everything in front of us. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing, that ki if you are kind of like a block those entertainment or kind of like a block the entire entertainment, this might not be a kind of like a something solution. So that, because it will kind of like a grow even more bigger. Yeah. So you cannot stop, or you cannot kind of like a simply end or things. No, you cannot do that. Okay, yeah. Next option, it is necessary to create opportunity for them to have organized the cultural event. Okay, what exactly it means? Okay, I still not really understand what is actually meaning of this, but let me clarify what is actually meaning of that, then I would probably knew it. Let me translate. उनके लिए संगठित और सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रमों का अवसर पैदा करने की आवश्यकता है. Okay, yeah, that is also really good option. That की like a kind of like a change the entire entertainment industry to kind of like a went to little bit of cultural or little bit kind of like a traditional, so that we can divert their mindset. Can we do that? Yeah, this is something we could do, that we could kind of like divert their mindset, so that the lust is became little less. Okay, divert is a kind of like a, one of the biggest thing that we could be kind of like a, something solve the problem. Or next option, that why do we even bother with this thing nonsense, like why the fuck should we supposed to do that? Why would you supposed to stop this thing, or why would I supposed to do that? What would you choose if you wanted to kind of like a change some sort of, yeah, like a thought process in the Gen Z or things or the new modern world? What would you do? What is actually your choices? I would kind of like a rather change the kind of like a thought process to little bit of traditional and culture and things like that, because it kind of like a divert the mindset and it kind of like a shape them to a little bit better world probably. But yeah, because I cannot stop them, and I can't choose the third option that it didn't really bother me. I have to choose this option, that I have to be kind of like a shift their mindset to something where traditional and culture and things like that, so that the lust would not, it would not kind of like a take entire entertainment industry probably. Those This would I would do. Okay. Yeah, I've been talking for almost like a 30 minute. Okay, yeah, so I have to end here. This is it, and rest of the test I will complete in next article episode. Thank you.